We're in the Mississippi Delta and we're with blues royalty right at this very moment. We're with the grandson of the legendary Robert Johnson, Stephen. Stephen's a blues artist himself. We're just chatting about his granddad, and he's going to talk about a story when his father last sighted Robert Johnson.
Like I was telling my friends here, my dad, I only remember seeing his dad 2 times. And both of those times, my dad was looking out of the window of his granddad's house. And he looked out of the window and he remembered seeing his father, Robert Johnson, shaking hands with his granddad. Some of his strongest regrets are that he didn't get a chance to really get to know his dad the short time that he was alive. And he didn't get a chance to play the guitar and follow in his father's step.
And that's because your mother and your grandfather didn't approve of the music.
Right. It was a rule in his house that no devil's music was going to be played in his home. My dad was raised by his granddad, and my great-granddad was a preacher. And he considered the blues to be the devil's music. So that's why he wouldn't allow my dad to have any kind of relationship with his dad.
Because he was doing the blues.
Right.
Did he know of the legend at that time that was surrounding that?
Probably wasn't.
He really did.
No, it wasn't really that big.
He didn't really know.
No, it really. Do you think that Eric Clapton really brought it to the forefront, didn't he?
He really did.
Yeah. So the funny thing about the music in the South, and legendary Tony Rain could tell us about that, but the English really brought the music to the forefront.
Right.
The Southern blues, wasn't it? Yeah.
Right. It is my goal not only to represent my granddad and to keep his legacy alive through the Robert Johnson Blues Foundation, but also to show the link between the blues, which was my granddad's lifestyle, and the gospel, which was my grandmother's lifestyle. My great-granddaddy was a preacher, and he had 7, 8 sons that were preachers. So the blues and the gospel then was clashing because my granddaddy, he was just he was a hard Southern Baptist preacher, and the blues was the devil music, and there was no other way around it. But now I'm trying to show that the blues is only a form of art. It's a musical art.
Art expression.
Art expression, that's what it is. And I'm telling Tony, it's also ironic that I also happen to be a minister now as well.
Wow.
Are you?
So to me, it's like God looked down through these generations and the decades. He said, okay, I got to bring this together to show the relationship about music being a form of art. It's an expression.
Yep.
Yeah.
You are what you feel. You are what you sing. You are what you hear.
Yes.
If you let it become a part of you, you're going to be there.
Yep.
And by the way, the only songs you hear me singing going to be Robert Johnson.
Yeah.
And my daddy's a preacher too.
Okay.
And I grew up in a real Southern Baptist lifestyle.
Okay.
And it's hard to show, music is an expression of God in itself.
Right.
And he makes us all unique.
Right.
My own thoughts about it, the whole Robert Johnson legend, and people saying that he sold his soul to the devil.
I actually know what happened. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute.
Well, what I was thinking about it is with all that creativity and talent in those times, how else could they explain it?
Right.
And they didn't even know what to do with how great it was.
Right. Well, I'm going to tell you what actually happened about that, okay?
Yeah.
The crossover where he supposed to sold his soul to the devil. Okay. My granddaddy, when he first started playing the blues and the guitar, he couldn't hold a tune in a bucket. He was terrible, according to what they say. Matter of fact, he was so bad, they say the guys used to run him away. My granddaddy would be out in the windows looking in the juke joints and he'd be listening to Charlie Patton and those guys play, You know, they be telling him, boy, get away from me with that racket, you know. So what my granddad did in 1930, he left the Delta area and went back to Hazelhurst, Mississippi, his birthplace. He went there in search of his natural birth father, who was Noah Johnson, okay? And while searching for his natural birth father, he ran into a blues player by the name of Ike Zinnemann. Mr. Ike Zinnemann became my granddad's mentor. My granddad used to stay in Ike's house. Matter of fact, he was with Ike so much that Ike's children thought that Robert was their brother. He had a house full of girls. They would say, Dad, is R.L. our brother? Because he was there, he lived with them, and this was a little town called Beauregard, Mississippi. It was about 5 miles south of Hazelhurst. They would practice in the cemetery across from Ike Zinnemann's house all times of the night. Ike would tell him, well, Robert, you can play here, you can get this as loud as you want, because nobody's going to say anything. Your audience is not going to say a thing. So they would sit on top of tombstones and practice. This happened for a period of 2 years. When he came back to the Delta, he was playing in a way that nobody has ever heard before. And so the legend was that they said the only way you could learn this kind of music like this, you had to sell your soul to the devil. So my granddaddy, being the man that he was, he said, okay, if it sells, we'll deal with that. But it was actually Ike Zinnemann's mentoring that helped him to be the man that he was on that guitar.
Well, we've been sitting on this beautiful porch in Mississippi with Stephen Johnson, grandson of blues legend Robert Johnson, and they have a foundation now, and Steve's going to tell you how to get there.
The name of the foundation is the Robert Johnson Blues Foundation. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We've only been established for 2 years, May of '06, and we definitely need support. We're teaching the younger generation about blues in its purest form. So we want to keep that legacy alive. We want to teach the history of the blues, and we want it to go from generation to generation. So go to our website, www.robertjohnsonbluesfoundation.org. You want to make any donation, like I said, it's tax deductible, and it will be greatly appreciated. And it's going for a very worthwhile cause.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks for your time. And
thank you all.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you.